I'm here to bring you today's deck profile, which is ice counters. This is the July 2015 format, and it's not a perfect version by any means, but it has worked out pretty nicely for me, and I'm thinking of making maybe one or two changes, not that much. But I do not include a side because I don't really need it. And did that even start? Yeah. Sorry about that. I needed to see if it started. So, I have two Blizzard Warrior. It's mostly because it's a Aqua level 3 type, but its ability can come in quite in handy if I can get it up in power. If I destroy an opponent's monster by battle, I can look at the top card of their deck and either return that to the top or the bottom of their deck. So, yep, I can do that for them. Cold Enchanter, you can discard one card and then gain an extra 300 attack and an ice counter. Geomancer is for all the synchros I have, and for an extra water monster. Gores, I really need Gores in this deck as a beater, a little bit of a beater, and for defense. Because sometimes I have to fall back on Gores when I don't really have anything else. Ice Master, you can special summon this by attributing 2 water monsters. So if I get a shit ton of water monsters out there, I can usually spam Ice Master. Ice Queen shall, what Ice Queen does is it can be special summoned from your graveyard. No. When you get it to the graveyard, you can add a spell card to your hand. You must have 3 or more spellcaster types in your graveyard to activate this and resolve this effect. Yeah, more as a 2900k 2.9k beater. More than anything else, because I don't really have spellcasters in the graveyard. Besides, unless you count all 3 Geomancers somehow get in the graveyard. Next up is Snow Dragon. Whenever it's sent to the graveyard, place 1 ice counter for each face-up monster on the field. So Cold Enchanter can get a little bit of a plus from this, and it's more for my rank 4 Xyz that I have. 10 Goldfish is my only other level 4 besides these 2. And it special summons a level 4 monster from the hand, so yeah. Book of Moon as a staple. Double summon, because I can get a first turn Ganir out or first turn Black Rose out, which can be pretty devastating itself. Kaiser Coliseum, it's a really troll card, but it works actually pretty well for the deck, because I need to limit the control of my opponent's monsters. I can usually deal with back row with the cards that are in my extra deck, but the monsters, not so much. I need to put a limit on that. Okay, so up next is Mage Power, which this is kind of a plus/minus. You can gain 500 attack and defense for each spell and trap card you control, which, as you can see, I could gain 1,000 if I had Kaiser Coliseum out. 1,000 for any monster is usually a pretty big boost. Raigeki, staple for any deck. Salvage is for getting like stuff. When I make a Star Eater, I'll get a Geomancer and a Snow Dragon back. So I need to add more Ray of Greed in here, so I'm gonna replace Upstarts with that. But what more Ray of Greed does, I'm actually gonna do that right now, so sorry about this. But I'll tell you what Moray of Greed does if my computer will load Moray. What Moray of Greed does is, as soon as it will load. So, yeah, what Moray of Greed does is you shuffle 2 water monsters from your hand to the deck, then draw 3 cards. So, I can get a first turn Star Eater, Salvage, and then Moray of Greed, and draw 3 cards. So, that's just pluses everywhere. Bottomless Trap Hole for obvious reasons, where it's a staple. Compulse is a staple. Double Passe is probably the best water thing that you can have for a deck. This is good for ice counters. When an opponent's monster declares an attack on a face-up attack position monster you control, make the opponent's attack a direct attack instead and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack the attack target you control. Also, that monster you can control can attack during your opponent's directly during your next turn. So it's basically attack me and then I'll attack you kind of card. Solemn Warning is pretty good. Staple for many decks. Black Rose for blowing up the field. Ganir is to destroy cards on the field, because I'll usually have way too many cards with either Moray of Greed or Salvage. So that's another plus to Salvage. That gives Ganir stuff. Star Eater, I can make this very easily with a Geomancer and 2 other level 4s. And whenever I do make it, it's usually game for me. Abyss Dweller, because it's really good for any water deck. Bahamut Shark is... This is the reason why I have level 3s in my deck. Level 3 water monsters in my deck. You can special summon 1 rank 3 or lower water Xyz monster from your extra deck. This card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. So I have 4 of the rank 3s. I have 1 Leviathan Dragon. I can gain 500 attack if I detach a material, but that's more likely when I have 2 rank 3s on the field. I meant 2 level 3s on the field. And then this level 3. When this card is special summoned, you can attach 1 level 3 water monster from your hand or side of the field to this card as an Xyz material. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card and target 1 water monster you control this turn. That monster can attack your opponent directly. Also, the other monsters cannot attack that turn. Snowdust Giant, once per turn, detach 1. Yeah, so for every ice counter that's on the field, all non-water monsters lose 200 attack. So after 2 counters, that's anything from 2800 he can handle. So that is my ice counter deck, and I hope to see you later.